In this session, we are going to see about the codification of materials. Codification of materials can also be termed as the identification of materials. This deals with uniquely identifying each item in the inventory. It is useful in requisitioning the items or the operational departments, in placing of orders by the purchase department, in receiving and expediting the items on the receipt from the supplier, in having a unique record of each of these items in stores and in work progress or in warehouse, so as to facilitate the control over the inventory levels, and also in having a good control over the loss, deterioration, obsolescence, non-movement or pilferage of items in the inventory. Unique identification of materials, whether they are raw materials, work in progress or finished goods, is said to be the first step towards good materials management system. Without this step, the control over the inventory with any number of exercises such as the inventory techniques will not be effective. Without this step also, a confusion might prevail in the operational departments. Moreover, for a good quality control system, a unique identification is said to be a prerequisite. This codification also has many advantages, such as the variety of reduction and the standardization of materials. This variety reduction will definitely help to identify the materials in a very easier manner, and it also saves time. It is amazing to find that in many of our large public and private sector corporations, a considerable amount of inventory lies in the stores or elsewhere because of a confused nomenclature or a lack of proper identification system. Many items in the inventory such as pipes, rods, electrical switches, cables, valves, similar equipments, spare parts, even the nuts and bolts are available under different names and codes, thereby reducing the actual availability of the item for the real operational needs. An item may be called as a nut and a bolt in one section of an organization, whereas another section may call it as a fastener. Because of this, there are two separate requisitions made by the departments, two separate purchase orders are sent out to the suppliers, and two separate inventory levels of the items are within the system. One section may call an item as pipe, whereas another section may call it as a conduit. In both sections, using the same item with the different names. This increases the inventory level unnecessarily. Prevention of the duplication is said to be one of the major benefits a material coding system gives to the organization. Needless to say that for a proper stock taking, a good identification is said to be of great help to the materials manager. In many cases, in large corporations, the concerned people are not aware of the materials which are lying in the stores for a longer period of time. These materials could easily be eliminated from the list, the salvage value may be recovered, and the storage space may be free. It is also not uncommon to observe that although a material is available with the stores in reality, due to the duplication of the identity, it is often quoted as not available, and thus many production programs suffer with the consequent loss to the organization as a whole. Proper identification of inventory items helps in simplification of all the processes such as storing, receiving, procuring, manufacturing, warehousing, and this results in the multiple benefits to the company. If this is followed, it might result in the reduction of the variety of items, and produce results of proportions equivalent to that of rigorous application of inventory control principles with perhaps much less effort on the part of the materials manager. When there are numerous items handled by an organization, their planning and coordination becomes extremely difficult, if not impossible also, if one of them is handled separately. Classification of materials involves grouping of items according to some criteria. It is easy to see that an item may belong to more than one class depending upon the criteria used. Before going to the codification of the materials, we shall see the basic objectives of the classification of materials. The basic objectives of the classification of materials is to devise procedures of planning and control for materials in a particular class, and to devise the purchase procedures, the methods of instruction, the methods of storing and issuing procedures which is said to be common to all the materials in a particular class, and to devise the accounting and the evaluation procedures common to all materials in a particular class. The concentration of effort according to this class system would be more efficient and effective as compared to the diluted effort corresponding to each individual item. The classifications can be made on the basis of nature of materials and also on the basis of the usability of materials. First we shall see on the basis of nature of materials. On the basis of nature of materials, the materials are classified as raw materials, machinery and equipment, consumable items, chemicals, inflammable items, fuel stock, furniture, scrap materials, packaging materials, and the general items. Let us now see each and every material in detail. Raw materials. Raw materials include all those materials which are purchased from the original producer or the manufacturers and are used directly in production. This forms the major part of the finished product also. The cotton and yarn are said to be the raw materials for a textile industry, and it is purchased from the original producer, that is the cotton boyer, whereas yarn is purchased from the other manufacturers like the spinners. So the product in one trade becomes the raw material for another trade. The machinery and equipment. Whether the machinery is power driven or the hand driven, it is taken as one of the materials to be stored. All the machineries that are used in the production and other departments is classified under different headings, namely the lathe machines or the typewriters or the electric motors or the fans or any other miscellaneous machines. Tools will also come under this category, and they are issued on a basis that are prescribed by the organization to the different departments for a definite period, and generally this is till their lifetime. Next comes the consumable items. Those materials used in the manufacturing process which cannot be used for the second time for the same purpose, since their utility for the purpose in question has been changed and the shape has been changed, and those materials are called as consumable items. The examples may be coke, coal, mineral oil, lubricants, cotton waste, paints, varnishes, oxygen. The stationery items are said to be consumable items. So the basic existence will be changed after the usage have been made. After using of these materials in the manufacturing process or in any process, this existence may go on. Next comes the chemicals. Substances obtained after undergoing certain processes in chemistry according to a prescribed formula is known as the chemical. They should be stored, preserved and issued very cautiously after a careful scrutiny and proper analysis, since this involves a risk even to the life of the people. The carbide, the acids will come under the chemicals. Inflammable items. The items which are highly susceptible to the fire, such as petrol, kerosene, the films, the paints will fall under this category. Due to their hazardous nature, they are generally stored as far away as possible from the main building with a complete firefighting equipment standing by. The fuel stock. They are also considered as the consumable items, but there is a very small difference between these two in respect of their usage. When an item is directly used for the production and it is a fuel for the furnace or for a oven, and it is said to be a fuel stock. It is an essential item for completing rather than starting the manufacturing process, and of course one of the items in a manufacturing unit, but it can never constitute as a finished product. However, sometimes it will be rightly taken as a raw material, because coal can also be taken as a fuel stock, and it is also a raw material for an iron and steel industry. So depending upon the purpose, depending upon the method of usage, the processing, etc., we can divide the fuel as a raw material or the fuel stock. The coal can be taken as a fuel stock or it can be taken as a raw material also. Next is the furniture. The movable contents of a room like chairs, tables, almirahs, the benches, the stools are said to be the furniture items. The repairs, renewals, replacements will also require a proper maintenance of the records, and they should be issued on a temporary basis to the operational departments. Next is the scrap material. On the expiry of the life of a certain item, the residue is called as a scrap. It is the material that is left over as a waste in the process of production. It is sold out in the market to fetch some value, some revenue out of it. We can have this scrap as sold as a very small revenue, and it can be shown as a revenue in the production account. The molasses in the sugar cane industry, and even in cotton textile industries we will have the scrap, even in the leather industries we will have the scrap. It cannot be further processed in the same industry and can be used by some other industry. Say in case of molasses in the sugar industry, they will sell it to another firm or an industry wherein they will take alcohol or distilled water from those molasses. Packing materials. These materials are said to be the wrapping materials, and that may be the form of a paper wood, or it may be a sawdust or a straw, etc. It can be taken as a containers also. These containers may be like boxes, crates, drums, bottles, and protective coatings like with a wax and a grease. Other than these items, we will have the general items, and these items which do not fall under the above headings what we have discussed. In a large undertaking, general store section is separated from the other stores under an independent in charge, since they cover a large number of items which are not already linked directly with the enterprise, that is the production of the enterprise. The cleaning materials, the stationeries, and with the general usage materials are handled in the general stores department. So under the heading, the nature of materials, we have seen raw materials, machinery and equipment, consumable items, chemicals, inflammable items, fuel stock, furniture, scrap materials, packing materials and the general items. Now we shall see the usability of materials. First comes the serviceable, unserviceable and obsolete items. Serviceable items are those items which go temporarily out of order. After repairing and replacement, they may become serviceable again and they may get a useful life and they can be used for some more extended period of time. But unserviceable items are those items which are out of their life. No repairs can be made. No renewals or replacements may bring them back to their useful life. They fit only disposable as a scrap. Obsolete items are those items which are gone out of the technology or out of usage, and those items cannot be used profitably in those organizations. Then finished and the semi-finished items. Finished items are those goods which have been manufactured in a complete form from the production department and are ready for the sale. It may reach the consumer for the end consumption. It is ready for the consumption by the end consumers. On the other hand, semi-finished items are those items which have not been manufactured completely but need further processing before they are put in the market for sale to the end consumer. These semi-finished goods are purchased by the firms which are going to have a further processing or further assembling and they turn it as a finished product. Say for example the tires, the brakes, the seats in a car or a bus or a lorry. So these are also finished goods. But they are said to be semi-finished goods because they cannot be used by the end consumer as such. Only these are purchased by the car industries or the transport industries and they assemble and give it as a car or give it as a bicycle or give it as a lorry or a bus, then it will be useful to the end consumer. The same way the laptops, mobile phones, so all these are said to be the assembling industries. Only it is assembled with all the finished products, then they can go in for the use by the end consumer. Any product which are used by the end consumer is said to be the finished product, and any product which are purchased by the assembling industries or further processing industries, then it is called as a semi-finished product. Then dead stock items. These items are generally used in government departments, that is, the items which have only some definite life, but it cannot be written off before its end of the life. Then they are called as dead stock items. That is, say for example the furnitures, the machineries which have a lifetime of 10 years or 15 years, but 8 years have gone, 12 years have gone, they have a definite period of 2 years or 3 years. Then these 2 years and 3 years, those goods are not in a usable form, but it cannot be disposed also. Only at the end of the life, they can be disposed. So that is called as a dead stock items. They are in stock, but it is not in a proper usage. Then unused items. These are not said to be the stock items in a correct sense. These cannot be used in a production unit because being defective and damaged, these items are said to be unusable. Sometimes unused stocks are mistaken for scrap and unserviceable materials. But this is not a real position. Scraps are generally left out items from the production unit. They cannot be used as either they are less in quantity or less in measurement or weight, etc. But unserviceable items are movable items which are being rendered unserviceable by constant use and are now beyond repairs. So based on the nature of the usability of the materials, we have seen serviceable, unserviceable and obsolete items, finished and semi-finished items, dead stock items and unused items. So before going to the codification of the materials, now we have understood the different types of materials that are used in our industry. Let us see the objectives of codification. In order to identify the items correctly and logically for processing the transactions and to facilitate easy location in the stores, a codification system should be evolved with the following objectives. The first objective being the accurate and logical identification. A separate code is allotted to each of the items available in the storehouse, indicating the size, quality, price, usability, separate characteristics, specifications and the like. This will distinguish one item from the other, even if some nomenclature is the same. It also helps in the identification of the materials in a very accurate manner and eliminates the possibility of confusion. Take for example a lead pencil of a black color, HP quality, which is for a writing purpose within a price range of 1 rupee to 1 rupee 50 paise. This will be coded like this: 0.07, 0.39, 1236. This 07 indicates the group of stationery items. 3 indicates the pencil. 9 indicates it is a lead pencil. 1 indicates the color of the lead pencil, that is the black color. 2 indicates the quality, HP quality. 3 indicates the purpose for the item. It indicates the writing, the usage of that item. 6 indicates the level of the price. So when you are going to identify a lead pencil, which is of black color, HP quality, and it is for writing purpose, and the price range is from 1 rupee to 1 rupee 50 paise. We are raising it as 07 as the stationery items, 3 as my pencil, 9 as the lead pencil, 1 indicates the color, 2 indicates the quality, 3 indicates the usage of the product, and 6 indicates the price level of the product. So this numerical classification will definitely help the users of that product or users of that raw material to identify it very easily. Next one is the prevention of duplication. All items are separately codified and are arranged in a logical order. Similar materials are grouped together, such as the stationery items, and given as a code, as we discussed in the earlier title. Once a code is allotted to a particular group, it is a decision on the organizational level that it should not be changed, and this same number should not be given to any other item. Since each item has a different code number, and if various items are kept in different bins at different places, there can be no duplication in placing the orders and no piling up the materials will take place in a storehouse. Thus, the codification will definitely remove the duplication of materials. Next comes the standardization and the reduction in varieties. For codification, grouping of identical items is done and enables the stores to examine the entire range of items. It facilitates the elimination of those varieties in the place of other varieties of the same quality, and it can be helpful in reducing the number of varieties to a minimum level. If proper standardization is achieved and number of items is kept at a minimum, it will completely reduce investment in various items as well as the cost of carrying the inventory in the storehouse. Thus, the codification will definitely lead to the standardization of the varieties, and it will eliminate the duplicate varieties, and it will keep the inventory level at the minimum. Next main objective is the efficiency in purchasing. The filling up of the purchase requisition and the preparation of the purchase orders are simplified by use of these codification. These codes will definitely indicate the materials that are required by the operational departments. Buying instructions to the suppliers will also become easy and can be made in a quick manner if there is a proper understanding of the process of codification by the suppliers also. The entire operation of the purchase department can be organized according to the grouping of items. In a centralized purchasing, such a system serves well in dealing with the purchase orders and taking advantages of bulk purchasing. The next main objective is this codification will definitely help in the maintaining of the various records. It leads to the efficient recording and accounting. Codes will definitely lead to the effective control of the inventories, efficient recording of the inventories, and resulting in the best accounting practice in an organization. The chances of making mistakes are reduced, and the pricing and valuation can also be made accurately and more reliable manner. Easy location of the materials are also possible in case of codification. Easy location will make a person to take the materials or to identify the materials in a store. The materials in a store should be kept in an order which will facilitate the users of those materials to locate the materials. It will take less time to locate and less energy to take it. These items must be arranged according to the codes allotted to them, and these allotted codes will also be properly indexed. This easy location and proper indexing of materials will definitely help the inspection to be conducted in an efficient manner. The storekeeper can make a continuous, at times periodical inspection of the stocks with the help of the codes in a very systematic manner. Easy computerization. When the codes are allotted to the materials, the store's details can be easily uploaded in a software, as already the codes are assigned. It can be easily worked out in a computer by describing the materials in the scope specified. So computerization of the levels of inventory is made easier. These are said to be the major objectives of a codification, namely It identifies the materials accurately and in a very logical manner. It prevents the duplication of the materials. It also leads to standardization of the materials. As standardization is convenient, it automatically reduces the varieties of the materials. This codification will also helpful in making the purchasing as efficient one, as the suppliers are also acquainted with the codes mentioned in the organization. And again, the accounting records can be properly kept and it can be easily uploaded in a computer software, as the description of the materials can be made in the codes already mentioned. As codes were fixed on the bins, it can be easily located because it is properly indexed. Proper indexing of materials will definitely lead to the efficient instruction of the materials. At any one point of time, the storekeeper can easily identify the different levels of inventory by identifying the codes itself. As we see to the bin card and the stores ledger, we can easily identify the materials and easily estimate the levels of inventory to be maintained. After knowing about the significance of codification and the objectives of codification, let us now see about the features of the codification system. These codification can be based on certain considerations. The considerations being the brevity, the logical sequence, flexibility, uniqueness, understandable, and the layout of the codes. Let us now see about the considerations which are to be followed in case of designing the codes for the materials. First comes the brevity. Brevity here women, it should be brief. The code should not be very lengthy. It should not be in a very lengthy description. If you are going to write a lengthy code, you can write the name of the material itself. The codes must be very specific and should be very brief. On seeing the numbers, you should be able to go with the major raw material. As we said, stationery 07. So whenever you see 07 in the shelf, you can easily identify that it belongs to the category of stationeries. The same way the different numbers for your pens, pencils, papers, notepads, etc. When you are going to give unique codes or specific codes for a particular material, subcodes, we call it as subcodes. These subcodes will definitely help the users to identify the racks very easily. The brevity says that minimum possible number of digits should be there while coding a material. The size of the code should be normally dictated by a number and the range of the items and the types of the applications. As we saw it with the lead pencil, you must know about the stationery, the type of the item, that is the pencil, and that should be the lead pencil, and that should be the black color, and it should be of quality HP, right? So we have to go in for the price levels. So all the items must be properly coded and it must be separated by an icon or a full stop. So that is called as brevity. Then we will go for the logical system of coding. The coding should logically fit to the needs of the users and the method of software you are using in the computer. When you are using a pencil code, when you are using a stationery code, the same code should be used on the system also, that is the computer also. When you are assigning 07 for stationaries, you cannot assign 08 on the computer. You have to assign only 07. And once again, the order of numbering should be properly kept. As we said, stationaries, pencil, lead pencil. The same way, you can go for another material. You go for the major category and the subcategories in an order. So that is to be the logical order. The last one should be the price level, and the last before one, that is the one before the last digit, that is said to be the subcategory. You can easily identify a color, or it is the purpose of use, whatever may be. The order you are going to maintain in one particular item, the same order, say major item, the subcategory, the color, the usage, the price, the quality, etc. So the way in which you are going to arrange, the same order should be followed for the other categories also. So that logical order should be followed for all the materials. Flexibility. The code design should be very flexible to accommodate any changes without disturbing the existing codes. Normally, in case of additions that are to be made in a material, when you are adding a subcategory, you should not disturb the existing code, and you can go in for the small modifications in the codes. And once again, any code that is given to a particular product must represent in a very unique manner. That is, when you are going to give a number for an employee or an item, that number should have an identity, and it should not be one that should be repeated. Say for example, when you go for your employees, in case of your even our universities, we will have teaching staff and your non-teaching staff, technical staff, right? So we have office staff, so we have many categories. If you are going to allot a particular number or a particular alphabet for teaching staff, that should not be used for non-teaching, or that should not be used for the technical staff. So the major category must be given a unique number, and that unique number should not get disturbed. And once again, as you see your first number or the first alphabet, you must be able to identify the major item of a material. And again, whatever method of codification we are going to use, whether it is numeric or alphanumeric, whatever method we are going to use it, it must be easily understandable, one by the employees who are using it daily. It should be a simple one, it should be a practical one, and it should also be a meaningful one. After coding the materials, the purchase manager or the stores manager, whomsoever be the head of the department, depending upon the size of the organization, must acquaint the employees regarding the method of codification and why these materials are codified and how these materials are codified and how to remember all these codes. Even in some organizations, we can have some small pamphlets for introducing the codification to the employees. They can have a small handouts to memorize first, and as they go and acquaint themselves, they will be easy to identify it. So it must be simple to remember, and it should be meaningful to remember also. And again, the symbols which are to be selected for the codification may have alphabets or the numericals. Sometimes you will go in for alphanumerical also. Say for example, in case of zinc, you can go for Z. Or in case of some other copper, you can go in for alphabet. So the same way, when you are going to add your numbers, you have to say what are all the numbers indicate. So numerically you can identify, or in an alphabetical manner you can identify. or even you can go in for the alphanumerical. It is not a hard and a fast rule to find out the codification which is to be strictly followed for alphabetical or numerical. It is our own convenience or it is our own comfort to have alpha or numerical or alphanumerical. Whatever choice you are making it for the first time, that should be followed in a continuous manner so that the users of the materials may not get confused regarding the codification. And the layout of the code should not be very lengthy, and as we already said, it must be differentiated with an hyphen or sometimes with a full stops. The hyphen and the full stops will be maintained between the subcategories. As I said, the main category, hyphen, the subcategory, that is the size, color, assortment, quality, price, etc. So whatever the subcategories you are going to follow, the hyphen or a full stop must be followed so that the complete codification will have these segments, and these segments will help the users, the employees, to remember in their minds. And the capacity of the given code should be unique, and this unique number, right, should not be repeated. The size of the code structure should be decided before in hand by anticipating the requirements of the unique combinations. Suppose we are going to have the additions, or suppose we are going to have a deletions in the materials, that should not disturb the codification in a very big manner. Very slight changes should be done, and you should not disturb the codification system in a very, the great possible manner. So the complete system should not be disturbed. We must have a very small changes in the codification. That means suppose. So by seeing about the various considerations to be followed or to be kept in mind while codification, we said it should be very brief, and it should be logical, it should be flexible enough, and the most important thing is it should be unique, and it should be simple, practical, understandable, and the layout of the codes is very important, and whatever codification we are going to follow, that must fit our system, and the proper choice of the symbols, proper choice of the alphabets or the numerals must be followed, must be made and followed in a continuous manner, and frequent changing of the codes should not be made in an organization. The basic requirements of codification is to identify the commodities, name the commodities, specify the commodities, classify the commodities, find out and indicate the interrelationship between the commodities, indicate the source of origin of the commodities, and refer specifically to an individual and unique the commodity. So the uniqueness in identifying the commodity is said to be the success of any codification. With the basic knowledge about the meaning of codification, the objectives of codification, and the considerations to be followed or kept in mind regarding the codification, we shall now go to the systems of codification. What are the different methods of codifying the materials? One of the prerequisites of classification and codification is to know the basic nature and characteristics of all materials used in an enterprise, and then classify them in broad categories, and then to group and subgroup them in a logical progression of kinds, type, sizes, colors, price, etc. For example, raw materials, semi-processed materials, the mechanical products, electrical products, chemicals, office equipments can be classified and grouped and subgrouped first. After classification in a broad category, a code or a symbol is allocated to each of the elements. The code or symbol so allotted should be simple, flexible, and it should be easily adoptable in order to exploit the full advantages of codification. Codification is a process of representing each item by a number, the digits of which indicate the group, the subgroup, the type, and the dimension of the items. The first two digits normally represent the major groups as we have discussed. It may be a stationery or a raw tools, etc. The forthcoming digits must be the subgroups. That is, the ferrous materials, non-ferrous materials, dimensional characteristics of the length, width, head diameter will also constitute the further 3 digits, and the last digit will be with the minor variations. Many organizations in public and private sectors like the railways have their own system of codification. The number of digits in a code may typically be somewhere between 8 to 13 digits. There are many methods of codification, but the most useful method is that which give along with the standard form the history, size, and type of material. However, a great care should be taken to develop the code to satisfy a variety of users. Some of the systems of codification are arbitrary system, numerical system, mnemonic system or alphanumeric system, decimal system, bridge system, and Kodak system. We have 6 systems of codification. We shall see one by one. The first method is the arbitrary system. Arbitrary system, as the word arbitrary indicates, is based on a serial number under which a material is received and the same is allotted as a code number. Under this approach, all inventory items are simply assigned arbitrary numbers in a sequence as they are added to the store's account. Each item thus has a discrete number, but it bears no systematic relationship to the numbers assigned to those related items. 2 similar items or 2 matching parts may have the numbers several thousand digits apart. For example, if bearings are received and suppose a number is 5090 has already been allotted to the previous item received, then the code number of these bearings will be 5091. This system has the advantage that there is no fixed limit for codifying any number of items. Moreover, one cannot know the history of the items. That is why this method is not popular. We cannot know about the levels of inventory that are maintained. Next comes the numerical system. A numerical system assigns a 6 to 10 digit code number to each item. The first several numbers usually indicate the classification to which the item belongs. The next several numbers typically indicate the subclass, and the last 3 numbers are usually uncoded. We can take an example. First number will give the major category or a general class. Next 3 is generic. Next 3 is sub. And next 3 is specific item number. This 10-digit code number is one firm stock number for 1/4 or 3/4 inch. This digit indicates, the first digit indicates that the item is purchased part as per the following classification. It's a raw material part or a manufacturing part, or it may be a purchased part, or it may be a work in progress. First digit says about this, raw material or work in progress, or it's a purchased component, or it's a manufactured component. Next three goes to the generic classification, and it will be classified by the nature, and it will start from 000 to 999. Next three digits indicates the subclass, and this subclass will also be numbered from 000 to 999. The last three digits will be a specific part number of that item, and once again it will also range in the same manner. The third method is said to be the mnemonic system, and it is normally like a numerical system, but it combines alphabetic and also the numerical notations. The carriage code can be described in a numerical system as PFEBCS 503. P denotes the purchase part, FE denotes the fastener, BCS stands for bolt, carriage with a square neck, and 503 represents a specified number of the bolt. Mnemonic systems, particularly where a small number of items are involved, frequently make visual identification very easier because they are more descriptive in nature, and it will also be in a very short manner. As more and different types of items are added to the inventory, however, this advantage will also diminish, and the number of good symbols are said to be unlimited. Next comes the decimal system. Decimal system codification may be said to be universally accepted as it is simple to understand and easy to remember. Day by day, the number of items in almost every sphere of industry is increasing. Hence, the codification should also meet those increasing requirements, and it should also be simple, handy, and easily adoptable. Under this system, even up to lakhs and lakhs of items can be easily codified, and the history, size, specification can also be easily identified. The modern industrial concerns will go in for 7 to 11 digits for codifying the materials. Once again, the first digit will go in for the major section, second digit is class, third digit is the group, fourth digit is the type of materials, fifth digit is the size and part of specification. You can remember here, whatever specification or whatever classification, whatever number or alphabet what we are going to give is according to our own nomenclature, according to our own usage of materials in the organization. Once again, I want to stress a point. There is no hard and fast rule to follow a certain system of codification. Whatever method of codification is said to be easily adoptable, easy to remember by the employees of the organization, we can go in for that codification. Next, we come to the bridge system. The bridge system consists of 7 digits applied in 3 stages. The items are grouped into suitable preliminary categories such as assemblies, sub-assemblies, components, and off-the-shelf items. After these preliminary categories, these items are grouped within the respective class in order to bring similar items together. The bridge system, though it consists only of 7 digits, it is said to be quite comprehensive as the basis is on the logical major groupings. The last one is the Kodak system. The Kodak system consists of 10 digits of numerical code. The logic of major grouping is based on the sources of the supply. All materials are divided into 100 basic classifications contributed only by procurement considerations. For example, if a bolt is listed as a hardware item, if this is listed in the hardware catalogs and available only with the hardware suppliers, if this bolt is available as a part of a machine, then it will come under maintenance. So based on the procurement considerations, this method of codification is done. So we have seen the basic methods of codification, namely arbitrary system, numerical system, alphanumeric, decimal, bridge system and product system. But most popularly we will have the numerical system, alphanumerical and decimal system in most of the organizations. Based on the different methods of codification, the employees are able to identify the materials and they can easily locate the materials and they can take the materials from the stores for their own work. Let us now see what will be the merits of this codification system that are contributed to an organizational success. Based on a rationalized codification, many organizations are able to reduce the variety of the items. So easy storing, availability of space to the other materials, easy location, identifying the history of the materials, whether it is a slow moving material or non-moving material or fast moving material, this can be made in an organization. This codification also enables a systematic grouping of similar items and avoids confusion caused by a long description of the items. Since standardization is possible because of this codification, it serves as a starting point of simplification. This simplification will definitely result in a standardization which will give more benefits to an organization. This codification normally prevents or avoids the duplication of the items and results in the minimization of number of items, leading to the accurate records. The codification will make the employees to easily recognize the materials and it helps in clerical efforts to be kept at a very minimum level. If the items are coded according to the sources, then it is possible for purchasing the materials in a bulk and get the advantages of large scale purchasing. So this codification will definitely result in simplification, that is avoiding the duplication and identifying the materials with the history of the materials, and it results in standardization. Standardization of materials in any organization will go to the scientific procurement and scientific utilization of materials, which will ultimately result in the efficiency in handling of materials, and this will result in the cost reduction. The cost reduction is said to be the major aim of any organization. Cost control and cost reduction is said to be the major aim of any organization, which will be achieved through proper codification of materials. Hope you would have understood the meaning of codification, the need for the codification, the objectives, the different methods, and what are the advantages an organization can reap or can get from the codification. Thank you.